Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it is 7 o'clock. You know what that means? It is time for the Dirt and Asphalt podcast. We're joined again by Alex Wanders, DJ Verplu, and as always, Safe Grafke. We're ready to go. We got a great show lined up tonight. We got a lot of race results to go through. Let's make this happen.
It feels really good not to be canceled after the first episode, so we must be doing something right.
Yeah, does it feel good, guys? I mean, we got through one episode and
we survived.
We did not fall apart like we thought we might.
The people wanted more.
Yes, everyone wanted more. Exactly. Alrighty.
Well, like Safe let out, there was a big weekend in motorsports all across the country. Not so much around here with all the rain and all the rainouts and everything, but
Mother Nature had other plans.
Mother Nature's not a race fan this year for some reason. I don't know what we did to make her mad, but
yeah, neither do I. So real quick, let's talk about what happened over in the beautiful city of Webster City. Those guys, Todd Staley and that team, they wanted to run
they got
bad. Oh, man, I felt so bad for those guys. They wanted to run like there was no tomorrow, and they waited till the very last minute.
That's
I am so proud of those guys.
They had a 2,400 to win a Sport Mod show lined up for this weekend that I think was probably going to be a big deal.
Payout.
Yeah.
Mother Nature just said that that's not going to happen. So
I give them kudos, though, for trying, because, I mean, they literally waited until the very last possible second for that.
Yeah, there was just no dodging that.
No.
With the rain on the way, so.
Like there was no tomorrow.
No, I think last night, I may as well lead off on a subject here. I think last night the World of Outlaws NOS Entertaining Sprint Car Series was in action at the Williams Grove Speedway for the Morgan Cup against Pennsylvania Posse. Why don't let DJ kind of break that down and see what happened last night a little bit with the Outlaws?
Yeah.
Well, the feature is pretty good. Shots and won the dash, and Deweese got second. Pretty strong first row, and Donnie led most of it, and Deweese, they got something figured out. That 69K, they're fast.
They are bad fast.
They are fast. I really hope they win that money come to Knoxville. That'd be good.
I'll tell you what, I've never seen Donnie Schatz more frustrated. I don't know if frustrated is a good word. I think more just like puzzled how he could not keep up in the later stages of the race when the track slicked up with Lance Deweese, because it seemed like normally when the track gets slicker, Donnie gets faster, but last night as the track got slicker, Lance Deweese pulled away from him.
It was like 2.5 second lead.
Yeah, and he had mentioned that too in his interview. He was not very happy with how things were going for that team.
And DJ can comment on this too. This was the best part last night. At the end of the race, Donnie Schatz literally called out the Pennsylvania Posse crowd.
Oh yeah.
Since most likely Lance Deweese is going to be able to run the Knoxville Nationals this year. You know, he basically said everybody in PA needs to be there this year to cheer on Lance.
Because we were lucky and got to watch it. That was a heck of a race.
Yeah, Dirt Vision, bud. No racing around here, hey.
Yeah, shout out to Dirt Vision. You guys, if you guys ever see this, but you guys have absolutely great coverage, and we're lucky enough to check in each and every week. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's cool that they're at Knoxville weekly now since that's such a staple track.
That's huge for them.
I almost forgot about that.
They get the highlights out about 10 minutes after the feature's over. It's impressive.
Oh,
Ross, we used to do it. You do a great job, man. Really.
If you're watching.
Yeah, if you're watching. No, I seriously, I think that Dirt Vision does a great job.
Last night,
they do.
So Lance Deweese got the win in the 69K. He got the 12 grand. Donnie was second.
Danny Dietrich
rounded out the podium. So
yeah.
That was it was really awesome to see that. You know, the Pennsylvania Posse, it just seems like that's the one place in the country where the Outlaws go where they consistently get beat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so. You know, the Posse's really tough, and they'll tell you that. I mean, anywhere.
Oh, they will definitely tell you.
They'll
let you know.
They are proud of their sprint car racing, that's for sure.
They are. The Beer Hill gang was very, very lit last night. Very excited.
Oh, man.
And I wouldn't blame them. So at the same time that was going on, we had the old phone out. We were checking in on the All-Star race.
The NASCAR
young
All-Star race.
Young Money got the million. What do you guys think about that?
That's awesome. He needed it. He's had
a horrible year on the dirt and on the asphalt, so it was really good to see Larson turn that around and get a much-needed win. I mean, those last 5 laps, or probably 10 laps, that last stage or whatever, Kyle Larson looked like Superman out there.
Yeah, he just 3 wide and just pushed his way through.
Yeah, you know, and they said that was a very key pit stop, that last pit stop. Because
Yeah.
a lot of guys came in and took 2 tires. A lot of guys stayed out. Obviously, Larson stayed out.
Yeah, that
paid
last
off.
move he made, I think it was that last yellow maybe when he was running on, was it 6 or 7, somewhere on the inside
Yeah.
there, and he came up
Harvick.
through the middle of the field and got in through Bush, and Harvick pushed him through there.
Yeah.
That was pretty legit. That was a great move. Great move.
Harvick pushed him to first and second. That was
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had Larson won, Harvick got second, and Kyle Busch got third.
Kyle
That's
Busch, as
about all I
always,
have to
was
say there.
not very happy
Yeah.
about not winning the race, which
Yeah,
I guess you
he's
can't
always-
blame
Well,
him.
Yeah.
speaking of not happy, Clint
Oh,
Boyer
yeah,
and
there you
Ryan
go.
Newman.
Let's get to the
you
real
can't-
story.
You can't talk about it without talking about that incident.
Yep, the old Ryan Newman and Clint Boyer fight
Clint
after
Boyer.
the race. You know, I mean, that's a really good question. Who do you think would have won that fight if given a chance? Ryan Newman would have gotten out of the car, and Clint would have took his helmet off, and they would have went and had at it like in the good old days.
I'm saying Boyer.
You think so?
Newman
I think
beast him,
Boyer
think.
would have.
I gotta agree with BJ on this one. Boyer was throwing some haymakers, but Ryan Newman's stacked. He's huge.
He
I
don't,
agree.
He don't take nothing from
Yeah,
nobody.
I just think Boyer has a lot more raw emotion. I think that would have.
Emotion
would've
don't win
played-
fights.
Well,
That's
I know,
fair.
but I don't think it would have played.
That
true.
You
would-
can be as emotional as you
Pretty
want to
quick.
be.
Yeah, that's true.
But no, I mean that was just. I mean that just kind of. I'll admit that was probably the best NASCAR race that they've had probably in 10 years.
No, I totally
Just the
agree.
racing itself and then
Yeah.
the drama and all the other extracurricular, you know.
Yeah, definitely. We had the ASCS. They ran. It looked like they had a pretty nasty wreck.
Where were they at, Save?
Was it-
I-96 Speedway. I
In
think?
Michigan,
Yeah,
Michigan.
Lake
Yeah,
Odessa, Michigan, or
Lake Odessa,
something like that.
Michigan.
yeah. Cedar Speedway.
I think it was I-96.
Was it I-96?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we had Haverteef Jr. winning.
Sam Haverteef. got
Yeah,
the
Sam
win.
Haverteef,
Okay.
Phil Gressman, and then Blake Hahn with
Blake
the Chick
Hahn.
Magnet Motorsports.
Yeah, shout out to the Chick
Shout
Mag
out-
Motorsports.
Shout out to Chick Mag,
Josh
bud.
Hagwood.
Yeah.
You're building yourself a pretty cool brand there, bud. Keep up the good work.
Man, he's got a lot of drivers on that deal.
You got the whole
And that's-
ASCS tour, I think.
Yeah, basically, it's pretty stacked. Ball had a nasty wreck there. That was pretty bad. Looked like he went
Yeah.
for a couple times.
Looked like they had a
Covington had
lot of
that.
feeding that guy the right
Oh,
way.
yeah, I think he fed him more than
Sometimes
that.
you
He
just
fed him
gotta
his
send
whole
him
dinner.
John Carney.
Sometimes you just gotta
Send him
send
over
it,
the
bud.
cushion.
Jeez, well, they didn't just send him over the cushion. He sent him his whole dinner, his right rear,
Full
everything.
send.
Man,
Full
that was
send.
pretty great.
But yeah,
So then we had the World of Outlaw late models run.
yeah, they were in Ohio last night, I think.
I think you might be right.
Wayne County.
Wayne County Speedway in Ohio.
So we had Brandon Shefford, Ricky
B-Shep,
Weiss,
he's on a
and
roll.
Daryl Lanigan.
Yeah, that was the
Top three.
I wonder, did anybody see any highlights from that race?
I
Anybody
did
see
not.
what was going on?
I did see highlights from 34 from when the.
Oh, from when Lucas Oil was
Yeah,
there?
man, that track looked pretty gnarly. Davenport hopped it on all, got up on all fours off
I'll tell
the
you
ground.
what was a gnarly racetrack was they now call it was formerly the Farley Speedway in Farley, Iowa. Now it's the 300 Raceway.
Yeah.
That truck, DJ and I watched the highlights of that the other night when the Lucas Oil late models were there, and it looked rough.
They were bumping like crazy.
Oh
lot of
man, I
holes.
bet.
But over there at 300 Raceway, it was Jonathan Davenport in the number 49 getting the win. It was Tyler Erb in the 1T coming home second, and Devin Moran in the 1M coming home third. So Jonathan Davenport, he's been one of the fastest late models in the country the last 4 or 5 years, and he's just not slowing down at all and
He
picking
did?
up another big win. So
He did good at Burlington. He got second. Hudson O'Neill.
Yeah.
yeah,
Won.
Hudson and Josh Richards rounded out
Yeah.
the podium. So yeah.
Yeah, because Don O'Neill had a pretty bad go there.
Yeah, him and Davenport got into it.
Oh, well, Davenport just said, "Hey, bud, get out of my way."
He
Popped
did.
the
He
tire,
just
and
Full send on the guy.
he did. I mean, yeah, literally.
You gotta do
I
what you
mean,
gotta do, bud.
rubbing his race, and we'll talk a little bit about Southern Iowa Speedway since that is our hometown track.
Not much going on there right now, just a lot of rain.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
pond.
So going back, looking through the results, we've
Is this
already
from last
talked.
Wednesday night?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Just gotta make sure we
Clarification:
clarify
we already, if you want to hear us talk about the Sport Compact incident, listen to the
that.
last one.
We still have
Listen
Yeah,
to
we're
the
still
last one.
laughing.
We're still waiting because Alex was there, didn't get to see it, and
I was
DJ and I
there.
were not present. So do not ask us to cover that because you're the
Well, I
last
mean,
people you want
we'll
covering
cover
that.
it.
Cover
We're just gonna
it. We don't know
improvise.
the
Yeah,
explanation.
well,
They ended up giving Trent Orwig the win. That's all I know.
so
Yeah.
we had Orwig, Allison, and then Tanner Wilson. And then in the sport mods, we had Curtis Vanderwall. Shout out to Curtis.
Shout out to Kurt. Thanks for helping us.
Yeah,
get the
thank
page
you.
going.
Yeah, man,
Yeah,
spread
anyone-
the word. That's awesome.
Yeah, help
pretty
us spread
cool
the
of you to
word.
do
We'll
that.
give you some love in return. And then we had Carter Vandenberg picking up the P2.
Coming home, always a bridesmaid,
Yeah.
Carter. Always a bridesmaid. Gotta get the Southern Iowa Speedway figured out, bud.
And then we had Blaine Webster.
Yeah, good run for Blaine Webster. They've kind of Blaine has struggled just to click at the start of the year. Got his first career feature win last year, and they're pretty cool guys. Him and Ryan and the whole crew.
And shout out to Ryan. We're glad that you're doing better.
Yeah,
by
Ryan,
the way.
Ryan had a stroke a couple weeks ago at the racetrack, and
Yeah.
has been doing a whole lot better. So we're thankful to God for that. We're thankful that everything's okay.
We are.
So
We'll continue
We're
our
supposed-
prayers to you, man.
yeah, keep
'cause
praying
that's
for
gonna
you,
be
keep
tough.
supporting you.
So then hobby stocks, we had Griffiths, Kirkland, and Clint Nelson. I don't know Clint Nelson. I never raced against
No,
him.
I'm not sure
I don't
who
know
that
where
is.
he's from. I didn't see. They didn't say.
Kirkland's won a lot of races.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kirkland's good. Griffiths always tough, obviously.
Always
He's-
tough, no matter what car he gets in.
Yeah,
Always
that's
does
true.
A good job.
And then stock cars, we had Big Red,
You got the gas man,
the
Caden
gas
Carter,
man. Yeah,
probably the
Um,
winningest stock car driver at Southern Iowa Speedway
that
in the
was-
last 5 years at least. Anyway,
that was what his 51st win because he won 50 at Memphis. 50 was
I
50
don't know,
was
you'd have
Memphis,
to-
so
Red,
54
how many
was-
how many stock car races have you won? Do
I
you
think
even
it's.
know?
I think that
Too
was
many.
51 or 49. No, that was 49 because then they went to Memphis.
Yeah,
That's right.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
In the show.
Yeah.
The Scotland County Speedway
Yeah.
recap.
Then we had Derek Agee.
Derek Agee.
Agee.
Yeah.
Is that how you say it? Is he?
I think it's Agee. Derek.
Derek, I am
you're
so
out there,
sorry.
You
I
see
probably
this, we
slaughtered
butcher
it.
your name. I'm
I
sorry
probably
about that.
slaughtered it.
We're not sure how you pronounce
Slaughtered-
it, but we're gonna go with
slaughtered
Agee,
it.
I think. So
We'll do that. And then Nathan Wood, always a tough competitor
Yeah,
in the
Nathan-
stock car.
Nathan, what are you getting up? Second or third?
Third. Third.
Congratulations on that, Nathan.
Yeah. I mean, you
That,
know, Southern Iowa Speedway, you know, a lot of good drivers.
Yeah. You know, at
they're
one
tough
time,
anywhere they go, they seem to be, you know,
at one
top
time, and
five.
really, you know, the Southern Iowa Speedway's kind of been hurting on car counts, you know, here the last year or two in the stock car division, but I still believe to this day in 2019, and it's always been that the stock car class at the Southern Iowa Speedway is about, for a weekly show, is about as tough as it gets anywhere in the country. So,
yeah.
I just hope anybody out there, I know, you know, things have been a little rough at Oskaloosa the last 3 or 4 years, but, you know, they have a really good job promoting the Speedway now. They've got the track really smooth and really fast, like always. And, you know, if you're looking for a midweek show to race, I would definitely recommend coming to the Southern Iowa Speedway
Oh,
every
yeah.
Wednesday night. So, we'd love to see you there.
Fastest half mile in the state, right?
Probably pretty close to the fastest racetrack in the state of Iowa. So,
I'd say so. And one of my things is that I've been hearing a lot of people saying, oh, well, it's Oski doesn't have a good track promoter, or Oskaloosa, you know, they need Mike Van Genderen back. My thing is, I don't think that's the problem. I think the problem is that it's just cars in this area are becoming
I think,
a
yeah.
little less and less. A lot of people sold. Spillman sold out.
Yeah, there's been a lot of
I
guys
sold
who
out.
have
I mean, it's just a
who've
tough
gotten
thing.
out of it, but I think, I guess my opinion on things, I'm not exactly sure, but I think the one thing that probably hurts Oskaloosa more than probably anybody else is obviously the Wednesday night.
Yeah.
You know, and with all the crate motors and everything today, you know, they're more, you know, more fitted and more suited for a short track like a 3/8 or a quarter mile, you know, like at Boone or Marshalltown or
Yeah.
Memphis or wherever. But
Yeah, and everyone's like, oh, just make Oski a 3H track, and I'm, you
see,
know,
that's kind of like a tradition thing, though. You know?
Yeah.
it is. Well, see, and here's the thing:
Big half
if
mile.
they did that, I don't know if we'd have the front row challenge anymore. I mean,
Oh.
that's a big deal.
They'd still come.
I think, yeah, I agree
They'd
with
still
DJ
come.
on that one. I think we'd
Yeah.
still have a good front row. I think it'd be a better front row
Oh
challenge
yeah.
on the short track.
Yeah,
but,
you know,
so
you never
fair
know.
board, race committee, whoever's in charge of that, let's get together. Let's
Well,
talk
that-
about cutting
Yeah.
it down from a half mile to a 3/8, or even a 4/10.
Well, Mason City just did that. Mason City just cut their corners down, and
Yeah.
that's a great track to go to. I've been there a couple times. That's a fun track to go and watch if you're ever up that way on Saturday. Yeah, Saturday
it's on
night.
Saturdays,
Yeah,
yeah.
Saturday
Yeah.
night, and you're up in that area. I would definitely go and check out
Mason City.
Mason City
Yeah.
Speedway, especially now that they're
Mason
cutting
City,
it down.
Mason City was fast.
I've never been there, but I watched the ASCS highlights when they went over there.
Carter Vandenberg could have won one night.
Yeah,
he could have won.
Sorry, Carter.
That's neither here. That's neither here nor there. So we're just gonna say tough luck.
Cut.
Yeah.
But,
no.
Yeah, Mason City was a fast one. You know, there's a lot. I'll tell you what. It seems like there was a lot of fast half miles in the state of Iowa that they've kind of started cutting down. I know at one time, you know, I've been going there for several years now, but the CJ Speedway at one time was a half mile. I think they've cut it down to a 4/10, and it seems
a pretty fun track.
Yeah, CJ's kind of a cool feel, isn't it?
Yeah,
kind of the old school feel off the river and everything. Yeah.
Speaking of off the river again, Webster City, those guys, I seriously cannot.
Yeah, they do a great
give
job
them enough.
there.
Todd Staley, man. I mean, we got to Carter's to watch the Outlaw race last night, and they were looking, and it's like, oh, it's gonna rain up there, and they're like, oh, we're still gonna race, and I'm like, man, you guys have like,
who was
man.
Let's get to
old Carter was pretty pumped that rained out though.
Yeah,
literally everyone wanted that race. Everyone wanted that race to.
Yeah, he was more excited about the fact that they rained out than they even had a race.
Yeah.
For 24.
Let's go over what happened this Saturday night at the Scotland County Speedway in Memphis, Missouri. They had a big race weekend down there. I think they had a total of, I think it was 91 cars between 4 or 5 different classes of competition, and I think I got it wrote down.
Was that
here.
Friday?
I think it was. Yeah, it was Friday night. It was Friday night. Yeah,
Friday.
Sorry, Friday night. My bad. Don't even know what I'm talking about. But picking up the win in the Sport Compact class was the 27 of Brandon. Sorry if I butcher your name, Brandon. Brandon Rue.
Yeah,
Not sure how you say it.
We'll give it to you.
This is kind of a big storyline. Picking up his first ever career sport mod win, and I think just his 6th or 7th start was.
Andy's watching the podcast.
Was the 17W of Dylan Van Wyck from here in Oskaloosa. So Dylan.
And Dylan, we know you. He is right here. Boom, we got him.
That's a big feat. No matter what level of racing you're racing, anytime you can get your first win. So.
Well, and that kid was.
Yeah, here's a toast to Dylan on the victory.
Toast Dylan.
On the victory, probably the first of many. So. Congratulations, buddy.
Yeah, no, that was great. He was really good in go-karts too.
Was he?
Yeah.
Dylan, were you really good in go-karts?
Yeah, he won that one really big race. What did it pay? He won that one paid.
Speaking of Carter Vandenberg, he's watching.
Oh, boys.
We've got the legend on the podcast. But anyway, back to the Scotland County Speedway. This guy, I'll tell you what, I mean, love him or hate him, he's definitely picked up a lot of wins in his short career. Caden Carter from Oskaloosa picked up both the stock car and the modified feature down at the Scotland County Speedway. So, Caden, congratulations on the double up. We've seen you do it plenty of times, so congratulations to car owner Joe Ferguson in the modifieds and Roger Kelderman in the stock car on the victory. So
we know you're watching, Roger.
Yeah, congratulations, man.
Yeah, no, that's just a really good team. I went back and looked. That Scotland County was his 50th win in a stock car. That's
pretty impressive. Hasn't really been racing the stock car for a whole long time. What, probably 4, 5, 6 years now. So
Orange Crush, bud.
Probably all come in Rogers cars, haven't they? So.
Yeah, and that's a new car. That's that Spa chassis.
Is it?
Yeah, that's a nice
car.
To
Spa.
Yeah, Johnny Spa. Johnny Spa chassis.
Shout out on the victory there, Johnny.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's cool. I see the young gun Jarrett Vandenberg has joined the show. For any of you who have never met Jarrett Vandenberg, you need to stop down and talk to Jarrett before and after the races. That you're in for a good, conversation. That's for sure.
Yeah, if you really want a good one, you should have been at the mall when they had the cars there. I remember my fiance and I was there, and he said, "Dear, look at this car right here." And I was pointing at Jarrett's. I said, "This is the best shape you'll ever see this car in the whole year."
well, see, you weren't wrong. First night out, first feature of the year at the Southern Iowa Speedway gets the body ripped up on it. So.
Hey, I mean, you know what? He's an up and coming racer. He's not afraid to put the loud pedal down and rubs the wall. He just keeps on going.
He's definitely not scared to stand on it.
Let her eat.
No,
I've witnessed that firsthand on multiple occasions.
Well, that's neither here nor there. So
yeah, we're gonna leave that there, Jared. Just to kind of help you out a bit. Well, let's see another race in action this week. There's a lot of racing going on this weekend.
Not in Iowa, though.
Not in Iowa. Not in Iowa. The only thing that was going on in Iowa this weekend was flash floods, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's all.
I mean, I've never seen so much water.
To build an ark.
Yeah, somebody should have called Noah. We could have got on the ark, but
yeah.
Let's let's talk about the big news story of today, of Sunday, today. And that was, of course, Indianapolis 500 qualifying was going on today. And I think the biggest story, and this is kind of weird normally how this works, not even the guy who got on the pole, it was the guy who didn't even get in the field. Two-time Formula One champion Fernando Alonso failed to make the field in a car that was built by McLaren.
That's pretty crazy.
Man, because McLaren, they're like a staple in that. I mean, if you have a McLaren, then you're like high up in the world of Formula One.
They are a high-financed, well-oiled
the guy that bumped him was like a way underfunded team.
That was the best part.
Yeah,
Some American
that's the
guy.
best part.
That was fantastic.
Getting her done.
You know, that's how some of that stuff goes. I mean,
it's kind of funny. I mean, it's not really funny. We're not really biased or anything. Just a little bit maybe. But the Formula One guys just kind of look down on the IndyCar guys like it's kind of just an inferior form of racing. I mean, they look down on everybody. But the fact that they build a car especially for Indianapolis, come to Indianapolis, and don't even make the field. I mean, that's kind of.
Yeah.
I can't say anything.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've never built a car to run the Indy 500. But
that's Indy. You can't make it.
Indy's a monster in that.
Yeah.
You know.
You ever been to Indy Safe?
No, I've never been to Indy. No.
I've driven by it.
Something else in the racing world that's coming up for all of you. Did Dana Kamega? I don't.
No,
think
Carter.
So.
I don't think she made it. I think she was a commentator or something.
Well,
She
Carter,
probably wrecked.
I heard they had a ride for you, Wade, but they said you turned the ride down.
I heard he got lost. I heard he got lost on the way there.
I would not doubt it. He gets
Carter. We won't go into depth.
We'll leave it there.
That's neither here nor there.
Anybody who's ever met Carter Vandenberg knows he's just a little bit directionally challenged, just a little bit.
Yeah,
I thought Danica.
Nothing but love for you, Carter. I still love you like a brother, but.
So one other thing we could bring up right now is the fact of the matter that Knoxville has announced they're going to run Friday and Saturday. Now, Friday is different because it's not for points.
But it's still the same payout and everything.
Yeah, same payout, just a non-points night. I agree.
They're probably doing that just in case if somebody has problems or something.
Yeah.
Therefore, it doesn't hurt them in the points.
Yeah.
But Nicole Wander says, "Hey, fellas. Hey, sis. What's going on?" My sister-in-law, for anybody who wants to know. By the way, I want to plug Nicole real quick. I know this makes absolutely no sense, but she is a hairstylist out of Monroe. She does a really good job cutting hair. So if you're ever in the looking for a haircut, give her a shout. All right, that's my plug.
Good job. You made the Wanders family proud.
You gotta try and help family out as much as you can.
Yeah, no, exactly. So I mean, there was just a ton of racing. I mean, seriously, and there's going to be a lot we're going to have to cover next week too. I mean,
2 nights in Knoxville. Props to them for having a double header. I mean, it's been so many nights without racing.
Does anybody know that? I guess I don't know, and I don't know if any of us do. But is that the first time, probably in the history of the Knoxville Raceway, that they've run like?
Besides Nationals, and I think so. Eric Arnold said something about that.
A double header for basically like weekly racing.
Yeah. I wonder if they're going to start doing that. I bet if this becomes if they get a good crowd Friday and a good crowd Saturday.
I do need a haircut. But
I wonder if they'll make it an actual thing where they'll start doing that.
I don't know. How many races have they lost?
I saw it because it started. They did a poll on Twitter, like how many people would be interested in coming.
And I think it really helps since it's Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
Might get a lot of people.
Yeah, that's big. Like you don't have to work on Monday.
That makes
most
sense.
People at least.
I do.
You have to work on Memorial Day?
I think so.
Oh, another shameless plug here. If you're ever in the need for parts, contact Safe Crafty and the boys at Arnold Motor Supply.
Oh,
they are, trust me, by far and away the best parts store in this town.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Arnold Motor Supply and Safe and Kurt and the fellas up there. They'll get you hooked up with what you need. So.
Oh well, thank you. We appreciate that. Thank you guys.
Safe's gotten a lot better since he first started. He doesn't screw any orders up anymore.
Well, I don't know. I'm not perfect by any means, but I mean, yeah, I'm just really shocked at how much racing happened this weekend. Really, none in the state of Iowa.
No,
we've covered that.
I mean, it's just.
How about a guy who's on a roll right now? He picked up another 410 sprint car win in Ohio last night, and that was Tony Stewart.
Smoke.
Yeah,
Tony
Smoke
Stewart is on a roll in the wing sprint car right now.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Figured out.
Yeah, and Jack Hoddenchild won the other night.
Yeah, he did. Where's that, Attica?
Yeah.
Him and
Attica.
Saldana, that was a good race.
Yeah,
Two World
Solana back in the
Outlaw
car.
superstars, former World Outlaw superstars going at it. So that's good to see as they get older that they can still sling it with the
Jack's
best.
still
So.
getting her done.
Yeah,
And they're that was at Atomic Speedway last night. I think Tony won.
yeah,
And,
Atomic.
Brandon Wimmer was second. Cole Duncan came home third. So
Dude, that Wimmer, I like his car, the American flag and
yeah.
eagle.
Is
and
he the
That's pretty
A79
cool.
or whatever?
Yeah, he
It-
shows up on that
okay.
old trailer.
That's
That's a heck of a
awesome.
setup.
Just
Speaking
goes
of-
to show you don't need a fancy trailer to go fast and win races.
No, look at
So,
Robert Bell.
Well, to go fast and win races.
I know.
I
Yeah.
I know.
Hey,
but
he's a
I
legend
mean,
in himself.
he's
you
a
can't-
legend in his own
You can't
mind,
talk
but-
about just like an open trailer and stuff, but you gotta bring up Robert Bell. That guy is just,
Yeah.
he's something else. He's something else.
There's a lot. I'll tell you
He's
what. There's a
something
lot of
else.
something else's in motorsports.
Yeah.
There's a lot of unique individuals.
Bob
you go to
Weave.
You go to enough races, you'll
Bob Weave, that man.
meet the bullet.
I'll tell you what. One of the coolest guys you'll ever meet at the racetrack, or maybe after the races, is Bill McCroskey.
Oh, Bill
That guy.
McCroskey,
I'll tell you what. He
yes.
could talk all night about whatever he wanted to
Where
talk about.
where were we when we ran into RB's in Mount Pleasant
After
at the truck stop?
after the Sprint Vader race down there that night.
Yes, that was great.
That guy can talk and talk and talk without stopping, and I love that guy.
Oh, and his
he's super
Facebook
cool,
posts
dude.
are hilarious.
Yeah.
He's just man.
Super cool dude.
He
Super fun,
is.
super nice. Not afraid to speak his mind either. He's got an opinion on everything, so that's
well,
awesome.
yeah. How about
Bab in
that?
the zero
Oh,
car.
there we
yeah,
go.
John
John
Yeah,
Vandenberg.
there we
Bringing
go.
up a hot
That's-
topic right now.
John, I think they should have put you in the zero car,
Oh, God.
honestly.
Oh,
I
boy.
think we'll make a
Van-
comment.
Exactly.
Van-
Has
Van-
opened up a can of worms now.
think we need
Vandenberg
John
and
Van.
Bloomquist together. That's a combo that might
You just sometimes
take the
you
race
never
of the
know,
world by
though.
storm.
I think it could work.
I think Shannon will probably do a really good job in that car. I'm sure they have plenty of resources and everything that they need to go fast.
Oh yeah, he's got the equipment.
He got picked for a reason.
Yeah.
That's what
I
I
think-
mean.
Aren't they going to race this weekend at the Show Me 100?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's their first race together.
Yep.
And speaking of late models, also Thornton getting a ride for the Dream again.
Yeah, who's he going to drive for, Sue?
You know, let me look it up. I had it at
We
one
have to
point
go to the internet because we weren't
to the
prepared.
internet. Obviously,
You
not.
got about everything else
We've
covered.
got about
We've got-
15 sticky notes wrote
I-
down of
seriously,
everything.
there's
But we
sticky
did not
notes
get
everywhere.
Ricky Thornton Jr. is driving for at the Dream. But
I'm not that educated.
yeah, when you make a comment like that, that's what people think.
Yeah.
But that's going to be really cool to see Shannon Babb in that car. Shannon's won a lot of big races in his career. Obviously, Scott's won everything there is to win multiple times.
He's
So
covered it all.
lot of knowledge. Just hopefully the two personalities don't butt heads and they kind of get along and can win some big races. That'd be good for those guys to get a win. Scott Bloomquist, whether you love him or hate him, he's had a pretty tough go of things the last 5 or 6 months with
Yeah.
that motorcycle wreck and not being able to race. And
He's
stuff like that.
rehabbing.
Yeah, did you see that
He
video
had
on
that
Twitter?
setup with the wheel and it had like a hydraulic thing and he was just
Doug Curlis.
Doug Curlis.
Yeah.
What's the car number on that safe? Do you have a car
I'm
number?
gonna guess it's gonna be the 20.
Yeah, it could
RT.
be. I don't know.
Literally,
Oh, no,
it's
it's
a
a
blank
blank,
chassis
yeah.
that's
Don't have
sitting
any
here.
wrap on
So
or anything.
no, not
yeah, I
yet.
know it's
That,
just a plain car.
Yeah, when is the Dream? Isn't that coming up next month?
Yeah, isn't it June
June
6th and
6 to
7th?
8.
6 to the 8.
Yeah,
125,000 win, right?
Yeah, big money.
Big money. Definitely need the money right now. I think.
Eldora.
Yeah.
That let's see. So yeah, the Show Me 100's coming up this weekend. I think who's the defending champion of that? It isn't Bobby Pierce, is it? I want to say it
Man,
might be.
you
Bobby.
ask. We should have gotten more sticky
Safe, you're the
notes out,
research
man.
guy here. You're gonna have to look things up
Man.
real quick. Who won last year's Show Me 100? Because that's obviously one of the crown jewels of late model racing. So I think what's that pay? 30,000 to win, I believe, is what that pays.
Was it Bloomer?
Could have been Bloomer. Because, yeah, it wasn't last year the year he came out of the B main with a broken left front tie rod?
Because he got wasn't it like 600 or?
Something like that. I don't know. I just remember that. Carter says Bloomer will be back in the car for the Dream. Thanks for that note, Carter. Yeah.
We definitely didn't say that.
No, we didn't have a clue. But, well, there was another race last night. And
Oh, Marshall Haynes says Saturday's going to be live on MAV TV. Heck yeah.
the Show Me 100 is going to be live
I
Saturday
hope
night.
that's awesome if it is.
What time, Marshall, do you have any idea what time that's coming on? Be a good thing to tell people. I guess we didn't know that. Didn't know a lot of things.
Yeah, we're still new to this.
Let's see. So back to the Indy 500. We got a little sidetracked there talking about some of the other stuff. Simon Pagino ended up qualifying for the pole today for the 103rd running of the Indy 500. He had a Like, they were fast this year. That's some of the fastest I've ever seen the Indy cars go around there. I think he qualified at 229.99 miles per hour, so basically 230 miles an hour. So, I mean,
that's flying.
That's average speed too. I think that's not even straightaway speed or anything like that. So that's really impressive. Did you figure out who won last year yet, Save?
Yeah, Bloomquist won.
It was Bloomquist.
Yeah,
Okay,
it was Bloomquist because he won.
He's won that race probably 4 or 5 times, hasn't he?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
He's covered them all.
Speaking of a guy who's having a really good year in the late models, if we're going to talk about dirt late models, that's Bobby Pierce, man.
Yeah, that guy's.
He has won.
Ridiculous.
Let's see, in a stretch of like 2 weeks, he won. Let's see, he won 3. I'm sorry, 3. No, 2. See, I don't know what I'm talking about. MLRA races.
Good.
He won the Slocum 50 at Burlington. He won a big race back in winter in Arizona, I believe.
Yeah.
So he's won already. He's probably won close to 10 races already this year. So that's really hard to do in dirt late model racing.
There's it's interesting, talking about racing and not hearing Donnie Schatz winning a lot of races in the World of Outlaw Series.
His time's coming. You give him time.
It's just a weird year for them, man.
You may have just awoken Donnie Schatz.
Well, if I did.
That one guy, he made an article about how long it's been since Donnie Schatz had won, and he won the next night.
Well, he won at Stewart.
Yeah, Bobby Pierce won at Stewart.
Carter, where else did he win? He won at Stewart, then he won at... they rained the next night out, and then they went somewhere else, and I can't remember where that was. But, no, that was a race. I'll tell you what, dirt late models at Stewart, I've never been to Stewart. No, that was the first time I'd ever been to Stewart, and let me tell you, that was entertaining. That was awesome.
Never been to Stewart. Never been to Marshalltown.
See, that amazes me that you've never been to Marshalltown.
I have to get there.
Dude, I'm telling you.
It's a fun track.
I know. Everyone's
we went last year, and it was fun.
I'll tell you what, Marshalltown puts on some of the best stock car races you'll ever see. Anywhere.
That's right. He won 3 of the 5 in Arizona.
He won 3 of 5 in Arizona. Thanks, Carter.
Thank you, Carter.
Heck, we got ourselves Carter. We might have to put you on payroll, dude. You got all the stats for us.
But Pierce won 34.
Yeah.
Hudson O'Neal won this past weekend in the Lucas Oil Late Models, if that's what you're talking about. I'm not sure which time you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, that's probably what he's talking about.
Yeah. But Jared, if you get a chance, or anybody gets a chance, you need to go check that race out. That was a really good race between, I think it was Don O'Neal and Davenport and then Hudson at the end there. So you need to go check that out.
Wasn't Herb in the mix for a little bit, too?
He might have been. There was a
lot
of guys.
I think it was Herb was in the mix, and then he got slid back when Davenport hit Don. Yeah. And then Hudson charged through.
Going down the backstretch.
A ton, man. He popped his tire.
Because even Clint Boyer tweeted about that.
He was upset about the whole deal.
Don was on the bottom.
Now he owns Josh Richards and Don O'Neal's cars?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think. Okay.
Because they're both at DeKalb.
Are they both? Well, one's sponsored by iRacing.
Yeah, that's the...
I think Richards is
that's Richards.
So... Yeah, they definitely got some big money behind them, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
But they give the results, so...
Yeah, they do. They do.
I saw 2 last night. I'm not sure what sanctioning or if it was a non-sanctioned event. I seen Scotty Thiel won a 410 sprint car race in Wisconsin, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Butler County Raceway. I'm not sure where.
Exactly where was that famous? What was that track in Australia they just shut down? That was a big deal.
I didn't see anything about that. You have to tell me.
Yeah, I want to find out about this because I just saw something
I didn't know.
Yeah. Learning as we go.
So we really need to talk about what's coming up this weekend because by most people's accounts, this is the biggest weekend in all of motorsports coming up with the Memorial Day weekend. You got the Indianapolis 500 and the Coca-Cola 600 in one weekend, and the Grand Prix is it Monaco?
Yeah, what's that, Sunday morning?
Yeah, I think so. I think that kicks it all off, and that's where we need to go with this conversation because I think this would be really cool, and I know he really wants to do it. I want to see Kyle Larson run the double.
That'd be sweet.
What do you think about that, Save?
I think it'd be cool.
That would be legit to see Kyle Larson pull it off. I really think given the right opportunity in the IndyCar, Kyle Larson could win.
If he uses Ganassi, Ganassi's got good stuff.
Yeah.
They need to line that up.
You know what? I think we should make an early prediction on who's going to win Knoxville.
You mean this weekend?
The Nationals.
Oh, the Nationals? Why?
Let's just do it.
Who are you going to stir up now, Safe? Who are we getting fired up?
Man, I don't know why. I think Sweet's going to get two
he's
in a
going
row.
back to back?
I think he's going to go back to back.
I don't know, man.
I think Larson's going to get second.
It's really tough to go back to back unless you're Donnie Schatz.
I think Larson's going to get second.
Again?
I think Schatz is going to get fifth.
Fifth.
Yeah.
You're really stepping out on a
Oh,
limb
boy.
there. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I know.
That's
I
an
know.
impressive stat too, and I think Donnie Schatz has finished first or second in every Knoxville Nationals for like 18 years in a row.
I'm going to say this is time he gets fifth.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's good.
And Larson, he's been up there, hasn't just been able to either hold it or.
See, but you have to remember too, and this is something DJ brought to our attention the other night.
Yeah.
The 69K car's coming to Knoxville this year,
Yeah.
most
I know.
likely. What do you think they're going to be able to do once they leave Central Pennsylvania and come to Knoxville?
I think he's
going to run Eldora, too.
Is he going to run the Kings?
Yeah.
I think he's going to be top 15. I don't know if he's
Think
going to.
so?
Yeah, I think he could be a top 15 car.
I'm not predicting anything. There's too
I
much
don't know.
racing
I
between
just
now
want-
and then.
It's too
But
early
here's the
to
thing.
tell,
Yeah.
but
I don't know.
it's fun.
It's
to
just
talk,
fun to.
but
It's fun just to maybe think. You know.
What do you think? Like, every year there's normally a sleeper who gets into the Nationals A main
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yep.
Like I can't remember from years, like Kaylee Garst from years past, and guys like Ryan Bunton. I remember one year made it. Like, who do you think? Carter's going with David Gravel.
Oh,
He
that's
thinks
not a bad pick. I would not be upset to see David Gravel win the
that would be kind of
Knoxville
cool for that
Nationals.
race team.
Yeah, it would be, especially after everything.
I want to ask you guys, though, kind of get back on subject. Who do you think could be like a weekly guy who kind of you wouldn't expect to get into the Nationals this year, get into the A-main on Saturday night?
Oh man, Matt Jewell.
He made last year.
Yeah,
I think he could do it again.
I think
he's fast.
What do you think, DJ? Who do you think kind of is an underdog?
If
who
you
might
say
be
Joe
able to pull it
Simbro,
off?
you will be my hero.
No.
It'd be cool if he
Well,
did,
I mean,
but
you never know.
Chase Winter made a qualifying night last year
Yeah.
Got the good draw and good track.
because he beat Donnie Schatz in the heat race.
Yeah.
I almost started to cry when he did that.
Cole's going with Brooke Tatnell. Now that would be a pretty good upset.
Yeah, that'd
that
be
would
sweet.
that would be cool. Cole, I think we'd probably all cheer for that guy.
Yeah.
I'd say
that'd
Davey
be awesome.
Heskin could be one.
He finished 7th that one year.
Yeah. Austin McCarl. Well,
Yeah.
Austin could be a sleeper to win the whole thing, to be honest with you, if he hits it right.
Yeah, they got Knoxville figured
I
out.
think he's got a really good car owner and crew
Yeah.
chief. They got good horsepower under the hood, and I think Austin's a really good driver, and he's a sleeper, I think.
Bob Weave.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, now
See,
we're,
If Bob
now we're
Weave
just
made the
getting
A
crazy.
That was a serious conversation, and you just ruined it. You just
I
ruined
know.
it.
I'm sorry. I
Come on,
ruined
Safe.
everything.
Next, you're probably going to say Robert Bell next.
No.
Okay. All right.
No. I'm not going to say that.
I think, I don't know why.
I think Ball's going to wreck again. I hate to say that. I think
Why would you say
Gosh,
it then?
yeah, why say it?
That
I
was
saw first
horrible.
quarter wreck.
Well, I don't know. I guess my sleeper this year, if we ever get a race in at Knoxville, heck, at the rate they're going, they're
Yeah,
going to
that's
rain
the
out every
thing,
race to the Nationals. So
We haven't seen.
I think Christopher Bell, that would
Well,
kind of be an underdog, but
I mean,
yeah,
I mean,
he does decent in Knoxville.
I think a guy kind of a weekly guy who could maybe, obviously not win the race, I don't think, but who could get in, maybe like a Josh Schneiderman or something like that. He seems to be going fairly decent here lately.
yeah, he's got the throwback car.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Wolfgang.
Yeah,
It's
that's pretty
nice
cool.
paint scheme.
Yeah, it is.
It's kind of
Classy.
it's really cool that he would do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
You don't really see a whole lot of. You don't see a
who's
whole
kind
lot
of
of
a guy
throwbacks.
we kind of threw out, like Cole keeps bringing up these guys from more across the country. That's another deal that makes the Nationals exciting is that you see guys who like when Corey Eliason made the Nationals 2 years ago in the Harley Van Dyke car, that kind of put him on the map.
Yeah.
You see guys running Knoxville, you just only see on YouTube and videos.
And then they come and then they have good runs and then they end up getting really high quality rides in the sport. So
Yeah,
that's
they do.
really cool.
Yeah.
And I don't know who this year. I mean, obviously you could go with like Gio Selzy or something like that, but Gio's kind of already a house name, so.
Yeah, pretty quick too. I mean, this
He
is
could
what
be a
is
sleeper
is
to
this
win
his
it.
third year or second?
Probably second, isn't it?
Is it
Yeah.
his second? Yeah.
He's only
And
like
he's
17.
pretty. Yeah.
Yeah, Gio's definitely one that is kind of a sleeper, I think, to
And his
possibly
brother
win the race.
Dominic, he made it.
He's-
Won the
Did you
what
see
do they
that
call
picture
that?
he
World
put?
Challenge.
World
Did
Challenge.
you,
That's
did you
right.
guys see that picture he put on Twitter when he standing next to Craig Kinzer and all
Yeah.
that? People are confusing him with Craig Kinzer all the time. That's pretty cool.
Pete Parker Price Miller.
PPM, yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
pick.
he
Yeah.
could. Who knows?
A lot of lot of names out there. I
There
think
are.
it's still
early.
Yeah.
Knoxville's still Donnie's house.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and, another house name, Brian Brown. That's the thing with Brian.
He
is
got
that,
second those 2 years, and then he kind of.
He faded there for a
Yeah.
couple years.
I mean, he just... I don't know.
If we're gonna keep making predictions here too, we may as well. I know it's definitely early, but who do you think is the favorite? To kind of go off into NASCAR land, like who do you think's the favorite to win the Coca-Cola 600 this weekend? Not that any of us will probably watch much of the race, but I mean, you gotta make a prediction, right?
I'll be in. Or wait, that's Sunday night. I was gonna say I'll be in Knoxville, but
I just want to guess because obviously I don't follow NASCAR that much.
Right.
Just because someone
It's
that
not
I like.
our cup of tea. You can be honest.
No,
safe.
we honestly NASCAR is just hard to get into. It's just hard to get into.
It's good to take a nap too. At moments, yeah.
Yeah, you watch the first 10 and the last 10.
And then you add an extra 100 miles in the middle there, and then you really got a recipe for a
I mean,
success.
I don't know. I just am gonna say Kevin Harvick.
It's a good pick.
I don't know. I mean,
DJ, what do you think?
I think Larson. He's got the momentum. Hey, get her done, bud.
See, that's kind of who I'm going with too. I'm with DJ. I agree with DJ on this. I'm going to go with Kyle Young Money Larson to get her done.
that's not bad. That's not a bad pick at all.
He needs it. I know the All-Star win was huge for him. That $1 million is definitely going to, who wouldn't want to win $1 million? But, that's really going to help Kyle out going forward. I think probably leading into the sprint car season when he gets to be running more sprint car races in the summer too.
So going back to Knoxville real quick.
Yeah, we did get sidetracked.
We did.
Yeah.
We're good at that, by the way. So
really
you're gonna have to
staying
watch
on
us
point.
bounce back
It'll
and
be
forth.
about racing at least.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Some
Yeah,
of the new
no politics.
we have a lot of new faces that are being weekly at Knoxville. We have the Boffman Reitzel team. They now have Zeb Weiss that's gonna run.
Who's that?
Is he gonna run
Weiss.
every week though?
I thought that was the deal.
See, I don't know.
I don't know
about
for
that
sure.
one. He's definitely kind of struggled the first couple races in that car, but
Yeah,
He looked good the last time they raced.
yeah, he didn't look bad.
He got top 10.
It was nice to see some outlaw guys there for a couple nights because of all the rain. They were able to come.
Sheldon Hansfield showed
Chaz
up.
Thompson wins Knoxville Nationals. You heard it here
Oh,
first
boy.
on the DNA podcast.
Chaz
Whole new
Thompson.
Hoffman.
Cole is going with Chaz Thompson to win. Oh,
I hope he shows up. That guy's a character.
I've heard about him.
Have been into it pretty
Oh, I
heavily
got
on
into it
Facebook
with him
the last
last
couple
night.
days.
Man, I finally listened to that guy last night, and he is just
He's quite the guy, isn't
Mr. Personality.
I ain't gonna bash nobody on
No.
here.
I'm not going to bash anyone. But all I have to say is this: he is Mr.
he? If we're going to
Personality.
bash anyone, it's going to be you, Safe.
I know. I don't blame
Yeah,
you.
keep it in house.
Yeah, just Chaz Thompson. Yeah, that's neither here nor there with that guy.
Yeah, we're just going to
I
leave
hope
know.
he
it
shows
at
up.
We'll
That'd
leave
be
it at that. Yeah, if he shows up,
interesting.
cool. Again, going back with, I just thought it was great last night with the subtle. Well, it wasn't very subtle, but the shot that Shots gave to everyone in
To the
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't just that; it was Aaron Rodgers with the W. I just
Jimmy,
thought that
if
shot.
he pulls that off, I'll tell you what, we'll give you all the money we have, and that's not much, but that's all we can
He
promise
can probably
you.
drive
Give me
better than his
$5.
girlfriend.
Yeah, he
I
makes
don't
a
think
good
they're
point.
dating anymore.
I don't know.
I think they broke up.
Well, why would you want to date Danica?
I don't know. I don't pay attention to who's dating who.
Yeah.
I mean, look at all the careers that. Look at everyone that dated her and how their careers slowly sunk down a drain, and then after they break up with her, they start to do good again.
Like who?
Ricky Stenhouse.
He's average.
Yeah.
Well,
He's better than us, but
Well, yeah, I can't drive a NASCAR.
yeah. I mean,
so
yeah.
safe. Here's the big question.
Okay.
Biggest race in the world by most people's accounts. Who's going to
Okay.
win Indy 500 this
Oh,
weekend?
jeez.
Oh.
I'm really putting you on the spot now.
Man, you are, because I haven't even looked at anything on it.
Do you even know who's in the IndyCar series?
Not anymore.
At least the big dogs, anyway.
I couldn't tell you. Whoever wins.
Come on, safe. You
Well,
gotta
I
be
don't
more in
know.
depth than that.
People wanna
No,
know.
man, I never really got into IndyCar
let's
racing.
narrow it down to this. Do you think it'll be like a Team Penske or a Team Ganassi car or an Andretti, one of the big dogs, or do you think it's going to be an underdog? Let's put it at that.
I like underdogs, so I'm just gonna go with an
You
underdog.
think an underdog's going to
I
survive
just
and
wanna-
win the Indy
I just-
500?
Pippa, man, who the
Hey,
heck
props to them. Klaus and Marshall, they got in. They made the field.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, I just want an underdog.
Fernando didn't.
No.
He had all the money in the world behind him and he
Yeah,
didn't make
exactly.
I just want I don't know. I just want like a.
it. Got the
favorite.
opportunity to go to that race one time, and
I haven't.
it's kind of it's definitely cool to go to. This the environment. There's so many people, and the Indy cars I think are fun to watch in person. They're really really cool to see in person. So, Safe, what other big headlines in the world of motorsports other than Clint Boyer and Ryan Newman beating the crap out of each other at the All-Star race? What's going on right now?
Well, I was just gonna look here, see if I could find.
You're gonna look at the starting field for Indy.
No, I just want to know about what's going on in the NHRA world right now.
They're racing right now in where are they racing at? Richmond?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're at Richmond. They're probably done. I would assume. What time is it here? About 7?
Yeah.
7:45.
Yeah, they gotta be about done. Oh yeah, we started at 7. See, I don't know nothing either. I don't know what time it is.
Oh, here we go. Andrew Haynes, Bo Butner,
One pro stock.
Ron Capps, and Steve Torrance.
Steve Torrance is back. Steve Torrance is the reigning Top Fuel champion, so he's really on his game right now. They've won a lot of races the last 3 years, so that's good to see him.
Torrance won.
Torrance
34th career win.
34th?
Yeah.
And see, he's won most of those races in like the last 4 years.
And he's leading the points.
Is he? And you said Ron Capps won Funny Car, right?
Ron Capps, yep.
Yeah. Now, Safe, obviously you mentioned it on the last.
I will. Cool.
You mentioned it on the last podcast about our trip to Topeka, which was the highlight of your life at this point.
Man, that was, well, I don't know if it's the highlight of my life, but
come on, you gotta admit that was pretty fun.
It was fun. It was
You got the opportunity to meet Ron Capps, I think, didn't you? You got his autograph.
Yeah, had my photo with Anton Brown. Antron. Sorry, I don't know why I said Anton.
I don't either.
Oh, Antron Brown. He was cool.
Yeah.
He's like, hey man, you got my shirt on, give us some love, and then he signed it, and then we got that photo.
I think the best part about you meeting Antron Brown is that you were, probably the only Arab-looking man in the infield.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
He probably didn't get to meet too many people like that, so that was. I thought it was cool.
We had a nice talk with
Tommy Johnson Jr.
Yeah.
From Tumble.
That got interesting pretty fast.
He liked you.
Yeah. And you know what?
Who doesn't like
you know what? This is great. For all of you that don't know this, Nicole, who is
my
sister-in-law, her life got saved at
Texas
Roadhouse by the one and only John Force.
Yeah, that was actually kind of legit.
Saved her life. She was choking on a peanut.
Was it on a peanut?
Yeah.
I thought she was just... Yeah, it could have been. I don't know.
No, she was deshelling a peanut.
Sorry, Nicole. I don't remember that. I do remember that. I just don't remember what you were joking on.
He's like, are you okay? Go get her a glass of water. I'm like, yeah, there you go, man. Yeah, hey, this guy's cool. Just saved someone's life. Didn't even know it.
So let's get back to the Indy 500 because we didn't get to DJ. DJ, who do you think early going? Who's going to win the Indy 500?
Gosh, I don't know anybody.
Exactly, that's how I am. We don't pay attention to this stuff. You're gonna go with
Cole's pick of Pippa Man?
That'd be cool.
That would be kind of cool.
And this is bad. We're talking about dirt and asphalt, and all I really know
we'll
is...
say we're pretty much dirt
Yeah, we're pretty much dirt.
Yeah, that's the thing.
We're dirt guys. We're not huge asphalt fans.
Real quick, this Cole Newhoffen and I, we race against each other on iRacing. He actually works on a sprint car. iRacing.
Who do you work for, Cole? What car do you work on?
It's a 14 car. Yeah, he works on an actual sprint car.
All right. It's cool. It's always cool to meet new people.
I just wanted to say iRacing, for those who don't have it, it's great if you've considered getting it. Send me an inbox. I can help you talk about it, what you need for a setup. It's awesome. It's really a lot of fun. All of us here have done it. Old Gordo with the greatest comment.
Boy is gonna win the Indy 500. Josh, if you're right, I'll give you $1 million, man. If AJ Foyt at like 85 years old wins the Indy 500, I'll give you $1 million, and I'm just gonna tell you right now, I don't have $1 million, so you better hope he don't win. Oh, that's kind of cool, Cole. Yeah.
Oh man.
So
Jake Blueback.
Is that
He's coming to Knoxville a little bit.
Sweet. It's nice to meet you, Cole. I've never met you before. It's kind of cool to
He
meet
was
you.
He's fun to iRace against. He's one of the top. He's
Is he a
in the
dirty
big
driver?
time. No, he's
clean.
in the big show. He's on like some of the like
Like the paid races and stuff, like the
yeah
series races.
yeah. He's in like those. He's chasing after
See, we have
points in the late model division.
See, the late model.
I think.
Is that right, Cole?
I think it is. I don't remember. He's a cool kid. iRacing's a lot of fun.
I'll tell you what, iRacing is probably the most fun. I know it's a simulator video game, whatever you want to call it, racing simulator they've ever come up with, but it's also one of the most frustrating simulators you could ever be a part
Oh
of.
man.
Oh man, it'll
Just like people run you
Yeah,
over
it'll
and run
take
into
you
you.
out.
especially in the official races where it counts.
World of Outlaw series. Sprint car.
Oh nice.
Yeah, that's right. You do some. I know he does some late model racing too. I've seen
Okay.
his videos.
So the sprint car, Cole. I mean,
Yeah.
that's probably. I bet those guys in that series, in that lobby or whatever you want to call it,
Oh,
I bet
they
they
are.
really get after it.
Well, I'm in that lobby now too. See, there's
Wait
different.
a minute.
Yeah, I have my Class B license, which is the
How'd
World of
that
Outlaw
happen?
series.
Are
I
you
just
buying this
raced.
stuff?
I don't know.
Seriously. But there's different like things. There's like
I kind of figured
different.
maybe I would have.
There's like
hit
different.
count or whatever.
There's
Rookie
different.
class.
That's what. No, that's what Josh is in. Yeah.
Is this the Gum Out series?
Huh?
Is this the Gum Out series?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, but there's like
Alright.
different divisions they call it to it. So even if you're in the World of Outlaw, there's like a.
Can you get Rookie of the Year?
I don't know.
Well, that'd be kind of cool if you could do
Yeah,
that. If that's a
they
thing.
give out a lot.
Kohler, do you have your
Class
pro
A.
license? I guess I don't.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't know.
right.
Does he have his pro license thing?
I think he does.
That's pretty legit. He must be pretty talented at it.
You have
pretty
to,
Good.
That's
yeah.
top 30 in the world, getting it.
No, safe. no.
Oh, I thought you had your rookie.
You gonna let Josh talk to you like that?
Yeah, he said
Yeah,
he's a pro.
yeah, that's
Dang.
right.
That's really cool.
That's
man.
hard to get to.
So Cole, where?
Well, yeah, top
Safe
30
could
in
probably
the
tell
world.
me here, but where are you from, Cole? Do you know where he's from?
Nebraska.
Safe. You don't even know where your buddy's from.
Well,
That's
when
bad,
you
man.
iRace, it just tells you like if you're from like the Midwest or if you're from here or if you're
Like region.
yeah, like
Oh,
it's
okay.
regional. It doesn't say like you're from Oskaloosa, Iowa. Or you're from
Well, that's
here.
what I'm-
Lincoln,
yeah,
Nebraska.
Lincoln. Oh, thank
Lincoln,
you.
Nebraska.
Okay, good.
So Safe got one right. Okay, you're from Nebraska.
Check one.
Cool. Cool. So how much? You said you work for Jake Bubach part time in the ASCS when you guys go racing. Where do you guys? Is there a certain region that you guys race in, or is there a certain, series of ASCS that you follow?
He
like,
was at Knoxville last week. Booback was.
was
Yeah.
he?
Or the last time they raced, yeah.
And
That's a really competitive
Trying to
series,
think.
the ASCS.
Oh, man, yeah.
oh, I talked to Nate Van Haften.
He's living in Texas now, isn't he? Safe?
Yeah, he's gonna run with the ASCS. What is that? Southwest Division. They call that down there. Yeah, he's
Sooner
gonna run.
Region, Southwest. There's a bunch of
I think it's Southwest. Yeah, he wants to run. He's gonna run with them. That'd be
Nice.
yeah, Nate. If you end up ever watching this, good luck, man. That's a tough area down there.
Yeah, Nate was a really cool dude.
Yeah.
He was a heck of a racer.
What's he doing in Texas now?
Oh, I don't know. I just know they moved down there and he
Going racing for a living?
probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dang, 7 races in 9 days.
That's a lot of racing.
It's
I
a lot
know.
of work, Cole.
I know you've done a lot of work, Alex. When you went with old Vandenberg on that
Yeah, we did.
that tour.
I don't know if I'd call it work, but yeah,
No,
we
you did something.
we struggled to make it through, but by God, we did it.
Got her done.
So let's hear. I mean,
Cole, real quick, Cole, we want to really congratulate you on that for going after what you do, and that's a lot. I think that's one of the things guys don't realize, who aren't working on, who don't own or drive race cars or anything like that. But it's a lot of work to work on them race cars and make sure everything's right, make sure everything's greased, and no bent or broke parts or anything like that on the car. So, just want to shout you out for that, man. That's pretty cool what you do.
yeah, and I think going back to something, Alex, I want to hear the story again because I think it's great
What story is this?
about where was it? Jefferson, Illinois. You guys went and raced.
No, we went to Park Jefferson, South Dakota.
That's it. I knew it was Jefferson somewhere.
You were close.
So tell us a little more about your guys' experience
in South Dakota,
Yeah, about everything that happened leading to that.
there's something that led up to that. We raced in Donaldson, Iowa the night before, and actually had a really good run at Donaldson.
Yeah, you did.
It was a 3-day swing. It was actually this time a year ago. It was Memorial Day, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was.
Yep.
And so we went to Donaldson, Iowa, and we raced that night. It was pretty late. We traveled to the Des Moines area and settled down for the night. Got up in the morning, got on the road, and got to South Dakota, and little kind of dirty old town. And we got to the racetrack, and we pulled in, and we had an RV pulling the trailer. We had an open trailer, and we had Carter had he and his wife's RV, and we get out and we look at it. All the tires are flat on the RV. The rear tires are flat on the RV. The dual tires on the rear. Flat.
Yeah.
That's good.
Had to go. So then we had to figure out. A couple of great guys come over on a golf cart and tried to help us figure it out. So they told us where to go to a tire shop. So we go to the tire shop. It was a discount tire, and Carter's wheeling and dealing. If you've ever met Carter Vanderberg, he's probably the best wheeler and dealer. I mean, I don't know about the best.
Well, I mean,
He's the go-getter on the deals. So anyway, he's in there negotiating a deal on price and on tires and stuff. So we get tires, and the worst part about this whole trip is it is the hottest weather I've ever been in my entire life. It's like 105 degrees.
Yeah.
The air conditioning in the motorhome was running the whole time, just trying to keep up. And it was me and Carter and Ryan Webster was with us as well, sweating our what off. And so we get the tires fixed. We get back to the racetrack, and we raced that night. Had a decent run. I don't know, top 10, probably 6th or 7th. Not bad for first time being there anyway. And we ended up Sunday. It was on a Sunday going to Fort Dodge, and we get to Fort Dodge the next day. The tires are flat again on the RV, the rear tires. And we're going, what the heck is going on here? Well, obviously when they put the rear tires on, they screwed something up with the valve stem and it bled all the air out of the tires. So then we had to go to Walmart in Fort Dodge.
Oh boy.
And yeah, going to Walmart, you can imagine that. Trying to ask their techs if we could use their tools. So we ended up going there. Took us like an hour to get the RV jacked up high enough where we could put air in the tire, do all that bull crap, check everything.
Yeah.
So we ended up doing that. We spent probably 3 hours at Walmart. Forgot where we're at. Target, Walmart, but Walmart.
One of those.
And so that was quite an interesting trip. But I mean, when you go racing on the road like that all the time, there's always something that happens that. I mean, I've got plenty of other stories, but I think they're probably not for the podcast. If you get my drift, so yeah, that's kind of how that weekend went. Carter, if you're still watching, you know, it was quite the trip, but
that
we ran okay.
That kid struggles so much with tires.
Who, Carter?
Yeah. Well, that swing that we were going on to Mason and Webster City, halfway to Webster City.
Tell
on
everybody
the
what happened at the hotel that night.
Oh, I'll get to that. Oh, man. We were at the hotel that night.
Well, didn't you guys go to a hotel and you found like $20 or something like that?
Oh, yeah, I'll get to that. Well, that wasn't that night. That was the next morning.
Oh, okay, my bad.
So we're on our way to...
fake news. Sorry, guys.
We're on our way to Webster City. We're on the 4 lanes, right? Past Ames.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, I just noticed, like, the ride was different because we had the truck.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I think something's wrong. We look out the back window, and the tire is completely flat, and there are just pieces of tread everywhere.
Was this a trailer tire?
Yeah, trailer tire. Rear trailer tire.
Kind of spaced off a minute there.
On the driver's side
Ooh.
of the 4 lanes.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I'm like, man, this is about to get fun. So we pull over. We do the
Especially
old...
with that group.
We do the old NASCAR pit stop. He's getting the spare on.
Did you change the tire in under 10 seconds?
No.
Okay, alright, sorry.
Maybe a little longer than that. Maybe a minute.
Okay.
So he goes to get the spare, and the spare is, weather cracked bad.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, this is not going to end well. I'm like, we just need to get a new tire. So we get it to Webster City. Race. He does okay. I can't remember what we ended up. We leave, go to the hotel, which is outside of Webster City.
Yeah.
The cheapest one that Carter could get a price on, obviously.
He probably still tried to talk it down.
He did.
Did he
of
get
course.
a deal?
No.
Okay.
No.
Right. Continue.
So we go to sleep, wake up the next morning, Jared's still sleeping, and we're like, hey, we're going to go to the pool. And
Obviously,
Jared's like, wake me up at 1 o'clock. And we're like, nah, we got to be on the road by then, dude. So we go swimming, and we get out of the pool, and I find $20 there on the ground, and Carter's like, I think that was mine. I think I might have dropped that. I'm like, dude, if you drop that out of your pocket, I mean, too bad.
Did you end up keeping the money?
Yeah. Well, then...
Did you guys fight over it?
No, so here's what happened. So we leave the hotel. Carter's still mad about the $20 at this point.
Well, yeah.
We get to Mason City, and we have to find the Walmart because he's going to buy a new tire. So he calls, schedules it, whatever. We get there. They get it in. We're walking around this Walmart. And then we go back to pay for the tire, and she's like, it's $75 or something.
And then Carter just probably
and Carter's like, oh, I thought you said it was 60. And she's like, I did 60 for the tire plus this and this and this. And he's like, oh, well, can you give us a better deal? And the lady's like, this is literally what the lady had to say. She says this: if you don't like the price, we can go take the tire off and put the old tire back on.
So they took the old tire off the wheel, mounted the new tire on the wheel, pulled it on the trailer for you. And Carter was upset.
Yes.
That is.
And I'm not trying to belittle Carter.
Dutch.
I'm not trying to belittle you.
Carter, you are
that
the
was
Dutchest
just like
human being I've ever met in my
it's
life.
just hilarious because they wanted to get rid of. They were going to take the tire back off. Like this lady's like not impressed with it. And I'm telling Carter like to shut up. He's like, no man, trust me, I know what I'm doing. I'm like, apparently not. So
dude,
we hit the road. We go. We're hungry, so we go down to Pizza Hut and we walk in. We sit down and Carter's like, what's the best deal that you can give us on pizza? And the ladies, I'm thinking this is going to be Walmart all over again, except we're about to get kicked out and probably blacklisted from Pizza Hut. Awesome. This is how my day is going to go.
well, just that Pizza Hut.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I mean, at that
Something
point,
like
Okay, well, yeah, it's Mason. We're all the way in Mason City, so we go to the track. We're the first car there. They didn't even have. They had the gate open, but no one was at the box.
See,
and
we
they're
were
like,
the first car
"Oh
there
yeah."
at Park Jefferson that night too.
Yeah.
See, we're always on time. We're ready for hot laps.
Oh yeah.
We were 3 hours early.
Oh my god.
So the fair's going on. Okay, this is where I'm giving credit to Mason.
We're gonna leave that lay. We're gonna leave it lay.
We're leaving that alone.
Josh
Here we-
Gordon's got a good point there.
So,
But
well, that's neither here nor there.
anyway,
So
moving on.
So we have like 3 hours to kill. Luckily, they had their fare, and I'm plugging Mason City for this. We go and we decide maybe to do a couple of the rides or something. All of their rides are free.
Huh?
Yeah, they have sponsors, like different places. They get sponsorships from them, and then they put that next to the ride and say, this ride's sponsored by this. You get to ride for free. And it's like, man, that's great. So all you have to pay for there is like
Weren't you
food.
a little scared to get on the ride though?
I never did. Some of them were scary. Like they were clean, but I'm
you
not
just-
big on heights or anything. And these
No,
were the
not
ones
either.
where they like go up and they spin you around
Right.
and stuff. And I'm like, man, I am not
So
getting.
what
You
happened
cannot get
next?
me one of those. So we just walked around. They had like a BMX show thing that we
Oh
watched.
yeah, I remember Jared talking about that.
And
So
so,
here's
then
the
Carter's like, hey, by the way, for you guys, this lady up here that just really thinks that I'm a good race car driver and stuff gave me these VIP passes. So what they have up on these huge stilts is this mobile home,
Yeah.
and they made that into like a VIP lounge that is air conditioned,
Yeah.
just really nice.
Say
So
it
we
was
got
in
to get-
heaven.
Oh
Did you get
man,
in?
yeah, we got in. Jarrett and I did. We're watching the race. So this is the feature from the night that it rained out that we went up there
For $2,000.
for $2,000.
Good times.
Dude, for $2,000, and Carter.
Not for save.
Yeah. So Jarrett and I are up there, and Carter has a massive lead. He has like all.
Was this the makeup show?
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is the
Okay.
makeup
All
show.
right, just making
He's
sure.
got this huge lead.
Yeah.
And we're like, man, this is great because we had a lot of problems with the car beforehand. So
What were the problems with the race car? If we're gonna.
I don't.
By the way, Carter, we're not gonna give away your shock technology on live.
No,
Facebook,
I won't
promise.
talk about
We're
that,
not gonna
and
talk
we won't
about
talk.
shocks. We're not gonna talk about springs. We're not gonna
No.
talk about anything.
I don't even really want. Well,
I don't know.
I'm not trying to bash him. We just had an incident where the wrong gear oil was put in the rear end, or no, the wrong transmission fluid was put in, and we had to drain the transmission.
Oh, well, you don't need to go into that.
No, that was neither here nor there.
Just what happened?
Tires. It was hot that day too, so Jarrett and I are prepping tires and all this.
That I don't believe. Jarrett Vandenberg doing tire prep.
Yeah, he did a great job. He had to mount some tires and stuff. First time for that.
Did he put any kind of soft, kind of anything on the tire?
No, 100% legal. 100% legal. So that was. So we're up in this box. Carter's got like this huge lead, like half a lap. We're thinking, man, we're living the good life. We're in the VIP box in the AC, just chilling. Old Carter Vandenberg's gonna get the win. So we start walking down. Thinking, we're getting ready for victory lane. Like, Jared and I are like, we're pumped. Yeah, we're going to win a race. We're standing there next to, like, some diehard Kyle Brown fans.
Kyle Brown?
Or not Kyle Brown.
I was going to say, it wasn't Kyle
Corey
Brown.
Drips is the guy who
Yes,
won
that's
that
right.
race.
Corey Drips. My bad. I don't know why Kyle Brown had raced the night before or something. Anyway, and won.
Jeez.
So there's Drips's, I think it was his mom was standing next to us, and we're like, go Carter, yeah, we're going to win this. Corey's coming out like hardcore. I know. And she's like, no, Corey's going to win. And we're like, come on, Carter. So, like, last lap, Carter goes on the bottom, and Corey is coming on a freight train.
Yeah. He was breaking the rear end.
Yeah. Passes Carter and
kind of hard to win a race
on the backstretch. I know. Passes Carter on the backstretch, and we're like, no. We're like, we had this in the bag, man, and now I just lost. And so we're sad, and Carter's still pumped because we won he won a bunch of money still.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, man.
So they found out what happened underneath the race car.
Yeah, so now we're getting ready.
All that money
Yeah,
goes
so
south.
now we're getting ready for the next set, and we get the car ready, and, and he gets out there for his heat race, and we're standing there, and all of a sudden it's just like, we hear the motor like, whoop! And Jarrett and I look at each other and we're like...
Good thing it wasn't one of our motors. I'd have probably thrown up.
I looked at Jarrett and I'm like... So we are now running back down to the trailer.
I don't believe this either.
I was.
Okay.
Running. Jarrett was on the dirt bike. The little mini bike thing they have.
When did they get that?
They've had that.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. We took it both days with us. It was fun.
Carter, when did you pick that up?
No, it's Jarrett's.
Oh, Jarrett.
It's out at Heather's. It's out at Heather's.
Oh, I've never seen it.
So here I am running. Jarrett's on the little mini bike. We get down there, and Carter's like, we got a problem. And we look under the car, and we're like, this is more than a problem, dude. We're done, cuzzo. Like,
done.
You know that money you just won? It's right there now. And it's like, oh, this is great, man.
That's what sucks about races.
It is.
You can go from a hero to a zero, and you can go from from a full heart to a broke heart, just like that. It just sucks.
And believe it or not, the night before at Webster City, I helped a kid fix his hobby stock. I actually did something.
Okay, I've heard enough lies.
No.
On this podcast.
No. It's true. The kid was having problems. His motor sounded really bad because I had been through that. His timing was.
Something smells funky.
That was the night at Webster City when I was with you guys. You were helping that kid.
Was it?
Yeah.
I helped him twice.
Yeah.
Maybe it was that night.
Because me and Jared were watching you just like it.
His timing. The timing was off.
I don't know if you want to ask
The timing was off. No, seriously, because I had that.
Off?
Like 10 degrees.
Which way?
I don't remember. I just remember him coming back and saying, "Yeah, it was off."
If
and
there are any NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series teams,
do not pick me
looking for
up.
an engineer or an engine specialist,
No.
He knows it all, bud.
Starting salary, $100,000 a year.
No,
air conditioned office.
I just remember this because it had happened to me, and it's a horrible thing because you think like
Memphis that night.
Oh man, any night that I raced,
anybody who's grown up around racing in Southern Iowa. I was told, I was not there, I did not see this, but I was told from an extra source that Safe Grafke got to the point that he had BJ Carter under the hood trying to set the timing on his hobby stock. Is that true?
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't know. Okay, well here's the thing.
That is awesome.
So it's my...
I don't care, that's awesome, dude.
It was my first night in the car.
I was getting desperate.
I was down there. I had no clue. I will be honest. I had absolutely zero clue what I was doing.
Honesty is all that matters.
The car. Well, I remember Brock had said that he had to move the timing to get the car to start, and we got it on the trailer, and we were just rushing to get down there, and I think we forgot to readjust it was the problem there. So we get down there.
Jared Vandenberg, you ever forgot to shift into high gear?
That's neither here nor there.
Okay,
Oh, right. It was there.
So we're down there.
How, but it was.
So we're down there, and just the car is just not going. I'm like, man. So
turns out, Safe forgot to put the distributor in the car.
no, the distributor.
I'm just kidding. It wouldn't run, but
Man, I would have been really screwed. So the car is just not running good. I'm like, man, and then I called Brock. I'm like, Brock, what's going on? He's like, oh yeah, you need someone to time the car. So I forgot who I asked first, and they were like,
wasn't it
oh,
John
go
Lizzie?
down.
It
Yes.
was John Lizzie.
Because he's like, I don't have a light or anything. He's like, go down to Jimmy's trailer. So I go down there, and BJ.
Shout out to the Lizzie boys too. They're
Yeah.
as cool as it gets.
Yeah.
So I get down to Team Jimmy's, and Jimmy's doing something on Bray's car.
Jimmy probably covered up
BJ's
Ray's car. Didn't want you to see what was going on.
No, he's like, give me it. Or first BJ came out and he's like, hey, what's going on? I said, there's something, I need the timing adjusted in my car. BJ like looks at me, looks at my car, and he's like, let me go get Jimmy. And I'm like, oh,
So
okay.
BJ wasn't in there like moving the distributor and stuff like that.
First he started to. We had the car shut off, and he's like, my dad's a lot better at this. Let me go get Jimmy for you. So then Jimmy comes over, and
Did he charge you?
no,
Oh,
he just
okay.
said,
Bill's still in the
he
mail.
just said, God bless, go get him.
That's what he said.
Yeah. So I get,
Did you go get him?
man, this is how scared I was to go out on the track, because I'm
Why?
like, man, I don't know. I was just really nervous. I'm like, man, I said, I can't believe I'm doing this right now, and this is how I'm like having all these thoughts and stuff, and then I decide I'm gonna give myself a pump up speech, and it's like I do this every time. I know.
Memphis, not running for president.
Listen, man, it's a
We're
little
getting in depth
stressful.
on
I'm just sitting here. I give myself this whole like kind of like short speech, like
Motivational.
let's go do
Like
this,
Rocky
man.
Balboa or something.
Yeah, like let's go do this. So I'm sitting here giving myself this speech. Everyone else is on the track in the heat race. They're getting ready to go green. They passed me. I thought I was in the second
This is
heat
the
race.
Heat race or the hot
Yeah,
lap?
heat race.
Okay.
I think I'm in the second heat race. Apparently I was in the first. Mark Nelson comes running up to me, slams my hood. He's like, get on the track. And I'm like, he's like, you're in the first. Get on the track. I'm like, oh.
Did you floor it?
Oh, dude, I floored
You
that
got it
thing.
in high gear, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did get it in high gear.
What?
I
did that
floored that thing onto the track. Almost hit the gate entrance. Almost hit
That would
the
have been the
gate.
best. Oh, man.
Almost
Give
hit
him
the
a
gate
show,
entrance.
bud.
So I get out on the track. This is how.
So you didn't hot lap that night?
No,
Okay.
no,
Speech must not have worked.
no.
Oh, Carter.
So
Hold on just a second. That's funny right there.
That's good. That's
All right.
So I get on to the track late. I'm on the backstretch still. They're literally, I can watch them. They're getting ready to go green, and I see the flag
I
drop,
think you
and they
needed
say
to put on a Zig Ziglar tape, Carter. That might have worked.
they literally drop the flag. Everyone takes off. I'm still on the backstretch. This is how flustered I was. It took me 3 laps to realize my visor was still up. I'm getting dust. I'm like, man, why am I getting dust? I'm like, oh, I gotta put my visor down.
man.
I remember one night you were at
I
Oski.
literally
running
forgot
a
to put
heat
my
race,
visor down.
And you were late to staging, like, well, not always, but sometimes. You
I
were
really-
late to staging, and you went out on the racetrack. And I was yelling at you because I was helping you that night. I was
Yeah.
trying to help you put your window net up because you didn't have your window net up.
Yeah.
And you just took off and went to staging to run the heat race.
Yeah.
You ran the whole heat race with your window net down.
Yeah, I got yelled at.
You did?
Yeah, I was coming
On
back.
the race receiver?
No,
Or who yelled at you?
I was pulling back in, and Mark Nelson's like, stopped me on the backstretch right when I was pulling in. He's like, hey, make sure your window net's up next time. And I turn, I'm like, oh, man, here we messed up again. Forgot to put my visor down one night. Forgot to put the window net up the next. I mean, it was just.
But
Man.
In a serious note, Safe, I will say this. You know, we give you a hard time and we laugh and we joke, but you did go out with your own money, purchase your own race car, and make it through a season of what, probably 15 races? Because you ran every night at Oski.
Ran every night Oski. I ran Memphis once, Brooklyn 3 nights.
And you put your money where your mouth was, and you went out on your own time with your own work, your own money, and bought a race car and went to the racetrack and raced. So, I mean, for that,
on a part-time
give
job.
you respect to that.
Part-time job for almost the whole season until
Were you working at O'Reilly's then?
I was working at O'Reilly's the first half of the season, and then June hit, and then I started at Arnold's.
Yeah.
So, it was very touch and go.
Yeah.
You know, I came into this thing just wanted to race really badly. I had helped Brock out, and I'm like, man, and Brock's like, you know, I'm done, and I'm like, man, I want to get a car, and
Oh my gosh, Carter.
Carter, just for the record, it's spelled S-A-I-F. Seth.
Flip car got on fire.
Hey,
But
you know what?
You know what? We gotta love you, Safe. That was awesome.
Well, you know what? I mean, I at least know how to get places.
Yeah, I suppose you could say that, but
I mean, my thing is, I went out there and I tried. I had fun. You know what? Through everything, I still had fun. Sometimes that's all that's matter.
Probably not fun.
You know what? That had to be the most embarrassing moment. It was embarrassing and frustrating. So here's what happened. I rolled. I get out of the car.
I saw.
So I get out of the car. I get out of the
under yellow.
Yes, it's true. It was. How the hell did you Man, I don't know.
Under caution is the main question.
That's the question.
And okay,
the track, for the record, the track was really rough that night. I'm
I
gonna
caught a rut.
give Safe a little bit of.
I
don't know
heard
if
them.
little.
Okay.
Credit's the word or not.
I heard them scream
a break.
yellow. I heard them scream yellow. I flipped out. I hit a rut. I flipped.
It's alright. Yeah.
You know what
Voices
happened?
in my head.
You know what happened? Okay.
It happened.
Yeah. So
There's no denying that.
So they flipped me over. The worst part was it didn't hurt when I flipped. It's hurt when they pushed.
40 miles an hour.
It hurt when they pushed me over because I was sideways, and they pushed me over, and everything kind of caught. And I'm like,
John
man.
Vandenberg brings up a really good point. He said, if you I think he meant to say, if you can't win, be spectacular.
Yeah.
That's something somebody always told me. My dad or somebody told me when I was younger. It wasn't my dad.
I don't think
my
that's
dad
a
would
good
get
thing when they
pissed
tell
if
you
he
that.
got pissed. But they only remember two people at the racetrack that night: the guy who won and the guy who flipped the hardest.
Yep.
So everybody remembered you from that night.
You made
or the guy that flips under yellow. I mean,
hey, that's even better.
That's lit.
So anyway, getting back to the story. So getting back to the story. So I get out of the car and they're like, you gotta go in the ambulance because they gotta check you out for a concussion. I'm like, man. So I get in there and this is when I swore I was concussed. They're like, we have your wife in the front seat of the ambulance. I'm thinking,
what?
When did I get married? I'm like, man,
there under yellow.
I literally told the nurse, I must be concussed then. I hear crying and someone comes through the front of the ambulance into the back through the curtains.
Was it an angel?
And it's my mother.
Oh, okay.
And I literally then look at the nurse. I'm like, yeah, I'm not concussed. That's my mom. Oh. And the guy's like,
well, why did he think it was your wife?
I don't know. So my mom's like crying. She's on the phone and with my stepdad, and it's like, man, you gotta be kidding me.
At any
right
point,
now.
did you think you were gonna die?
No.
Okay, all right.
I didn't think I was gonna die.
Well, I mean, you never know.
No.
All right.
I did think I was concussed when they said they had my wife in the front seat and I wasn't even married. Because I remember I had my gloves off. I looked at my hand for a ring, and I'm like, I don't have a ring on, so I don't think I am.
I hope not.
And so I get.
Somebody's got some splaining to do.
So I.
You gotta be perfect, bud.
Yeah, I mean, it was just. So I got
That's
out.
Awesome.
I just remember, I'm like. So I get back, and I'm like, is my car okay? My mom's like, oh, honey, your car's just destroyed. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I get back down, I'm like, oh.
Stay safe, boys.
I'm like, oh, this ain't. I look at the car and I'm like, oh, this ain't too bad.
Safety slogan everywhere across the country. Stay safe. SAIF, boys.
I just remember looking at the car and I'm like, you know what? This isn't too bad. And then we tore it apart and I'm like, oh, this is bad. It bent the frame over.
But the roll cage a little sketchy.
Yeah. The scary thing about that whole thing, Safe, is you flipped and you were probably going like maybe 50 miles an hour. I would say, I don't know. Didn't have a radar gun, obviously, but you were going like 45, 50 miles an hour in the corner. You get upside down and the roll cage bent.
Yeah, if you had to flip full speed,
could you imagine if you were like Shannon Anderson?
Yeah.
Speed and then flip?
No, I can't because I've never been that fast.
We may not be here.
So another thing that happened is I was not very good on my maintenance program.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, we took the car out to Bobby Green's to scale it to see maybe if we could figure something out. And because I'm like, man, I said this car just feels different after I rolled.
Jane's got the
we're out at Bobby Green's, have it on the scales.
Speaking of Bobby, he just joined.
Well, that's why.
Say, Bobby, what's going on?
So we picked the front end up and we put it on the ground, and the one side did not move. And I'm like, well, that's weird. The shock should have traveled. Yeah, I had a bent shock.
I thought they didn't run shocks in hobby stocks.
Yeah, you run a shock. Yeah.
They do?
Yeah, this was on the front.
I learn something every day.
This was on the front.
Oh, they don't run on rear.
Yeah, they do.
They do?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I've never been under a hobby stock before, except safes.
Yeah.
There's shocks. Under that one, too.
Yeah, there's shocks, so we put a new shock on.
Put the training out of your car?
Yeah.
And
because I didn't have a clutch, and we found out the flywheel bolts were loose.
Yeah, the flywheel was loose.
Yeah, that was interesting. I had
I don't know who was responsible.
I probably had the most interesting car in the history of hobby stock racing, or any racing to be that matter. There was a lot of things that happened that were just really
your hobby
weird.
stock career is legendary, probably for all the wrong reasons.
It is. I didn't win a single race. I had a top 5.
Where at?
Couple. Brooklyn.
How many cars did they have?
6.
8.
Oh, okay, all right. It counts.
In Memphis, I had a top 10 because they only had
9, I think.
And Bach flipped, and a couple other guys.
You know what? It counts.
It counts. It counts.
But nah, I mean, it is what it is. It's hard to believe it's been 2 years since you raced, man. Just crazy how fast time flies.
Yeah, it was fun though. I enjoyed it. Maybe someday I'll get back in one.
I've seen some, your flip, you're lucky your flip wasn't that hard. I've seen some really nasty flips at Southern Iowa Speedway in my career.
Well, that night at...
I've seen Carter Vandenberg one night. Carter, I know you're still watching, so I have to bring this up. That night that you flipped when you hit the tire in turn 2, that was one of the coolest flips I've ever seen at Oski, in a modified. Obviously, seen some sprint car race there, but that was one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life. Just he got up on the tire and just started flipping on its side, and it was just cool.
I remember I went with PJ Veenstra to race down
Carter Vandenberg. I'll tell you what, if you donate the first $1,000, if you're willing to get some of that moldy money out and you donate $1,000, we'll start a GoFundMe page for Safe Grafke to get a brand new. I don't know what kind of car you want to run safe, but we'll get a brand new car. We'll buy one.
Just get me let's just.
A complete roller. We need a roller.
No, let's just get a turnkey.
Turnkey?
Yeah. Turnkey with
Who's going to build the motor?
We'll just run a crate for right now.
Safe.
We'll run a crate till we can afford to open.
You want to put a pickup motor in that thing?
Well, I mean, I don't care. Just as long as it'll run better than the last one I had.
Well,
for the record,
that's not saying much.
Take the engine out of the Buick and it'll run better.
No, you did not. No.
Okay, just for the record.
Never said you did. Never said you did.
Yeah, I mean, you worked on your car in our shop a couple times, and then went ahead and put a Howard's Automotive sticker on it. But that's all water under the bridge now.
Well, I had a sponsor. I asked your dad if he wanted to, and he said no, and I figured out why, because I was pretty bad. I would not.
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah, there's some things you just can't deny.
I mean, it was just.
That's something we ought to bring up. I know it's kind of completely off subject, off topic. We've already talked about pretty much all our the race recaps and everything. What is the hardest flip you've ever seen at any racetrack, anywhere you've been to? No matter what style of racing or car it was, what is the hardest wreck you've ever seen?
Bloomfield, hands down. One of the worst wrecks I ever watched. two stock cars. They got into each other. One got sideways into the fence, barrel rolled about 8 times, and the other one started he got hit the end loader tire on the inside. They were both simultaneously barrel rolling. Carol Hoover had some great photos because we were standing
when did this happen?
the night PJ Beanstra caught on fire at Bloomfield when I went with him. He caught on fire, so we were done.
You've been a lot of guys you help catch on fire.
Man, that's not true.
There's a lot of fire in your racing background.
Let's see if I think I have a photo somewhere here.
Remind me to never go racing with you because there's a good chance I might catch on fire.
You've been racing with me,
I know.
and you were fine.
Well, I went to the racetrack with you.
I want to see if I have photos.
That-
Maybe I don't.
DJ, what, to your recollection, things that you've seen in person, what's probably the hardest wreck you've ever seen? Just any of them, I guess. I don't care.
Well, I'm trying to look up the guy's name real quick.
Yeah, Jared's right. Carter at Memphis. I wasn't there for that, but we all saw the video. That was a pretty hard one.
That was scary.
We were glad he walked away from that.
That was scary.
That was he probably flipped 7 or 8 times down the backstretch. I mean, that was tough.
Oh, yeah.
It's tough to watch. But I think the hardest wreck I've ever seen in person probably would be, it was at Knoxville. It's been many years ago. I wasn't very old, maybe 8 or 9, 10 years old. And Nate Mosier was racing a 360. I don't know if you guys remember him or not. 22N or something like that.
I remember the name.
And it was in the heat race, and he got to flipping. He jumped somebody's tire or something coming off of 4. Started flipping off of 4. Flipped 2 or 3 times, and then the throttle stuck wide open. And he flipped all the way down to about where the flag stand rests. From the exit of turn 4 where the gate is there.
Yeah.
He probably did, I'm going to guess, 16, 17, maybe 18 flips down the front stretch. It was the wildest thing ever. Like, I thought, he was in some serious trouble, but he got out a couple minutes later, and he just walked to the ambulance. I thought, man, that was insane.
And the worst wreck I saw from inside of a car when I raced, it'd be a toss-up between August Box and then down at Bloomfield when I ran. They had just dropped the green on the hobby stock feature. I was getting pushed. I don't know by who. Which was nice. I had some speed for once.
Needed somebody to push it.
Yeah, I needed a little
Must
push.
have had a little nitrous bottle in.
Yeah. Got down into right before turn 1. Turn 1, there's bumpy, dude. Between 1 and 2 there's just this big rut. Guy hit it and bounced up into the other guy.
It was a little bumpy this weekend, too.
He
bumped into the mic.
Yeah, like I just bumped the mic. He hit the rut at Bloomfield, bounced up into a guy, hit.
Now we're getting into the good stuff.
It's getting personal.
So this guy, I don't know, he hit the rut, hit another guy. The other guy bounced, flipped over me.
All right, I'll tell mine real quick before we get into the pond watching.
We're not talking about
the worst wreck I've ever seen in person. I was probably 11, and me and my dad and grandpa went to the Nationals because my grandpa knew a guy, Curtis Boyer.
Oh yeah.
I thought that guy was dead. Like I thought
Didn't he?
legitimately watched somebody die.
He did die a couple times that night, didn't he?
I think so. There's a video somewhere about it.
I remember.
He still races around, I think, like recently,
awesome.
but
I remember when
that just scared the crap out of me.
Alan Zoot went up over the wall.
When he Supermaned out of the ballpark.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah,
that was scary because everyone just like
Alex Hill
stopped.
like catapulted him.
She's been in a lot of hard wrecks at Knoxville. She was in
Yeah,
that
she
wreck
was
that
in
night.
one.
Yeah.
Old Kevin Swindell gave her what for on Twitter.
Yeah.
That guy.
But
well, gentlemen.
I think we've had a pretty good show, pretty good productive. We
Yeah.
talked about all the different racing that's gone on this past weekend, what's coming up on the schedule. Again, big big weekend of racing coming up across the country. The Coca-Cola 600, NASCAR, Indy 500, and IndyCar. And
Knoxville doubleheader, Friday,
Yeah,
Saturday. Get out and
Knoxville
support them.
doubleheader. Lots of local racetracks planning on racing this weekend. Hopefully we didn't get too much rain to wash all the shows out this week, but
Hamilton County will have that makeup show.
is that this weekend?
I
Or is
think
that coming
so.
down the road, the 24?
I think that's this. I think they're going to do it
I
this
don't
one
know.
since it's Memorial Day.
Yeah, that'll be coming up. If you get a chance, head out to the Hamilton County Speedway and get out to the CJ Speedway. I think is supposed to, or CJ Raceway is supposed to be racing this Friday night. Oskaloosa, I think, is scheduled for this Wednesday.
They
so
are. Yep.
Lots of good weekly shows coming up. So, and I think the way I guess I'll end my portion of the podcast is get out and support your local racetracks. You know, we need to all band together as drivers and car owners and fans and social media guys who love racing, and especially at the local level. If we want to see local racing stay strong and actually grow and be productive, get out there and support it. So I think that's maybe going to be my last 2 cents. DJ, what do you want to add?
Yeah, I think main thing, Indy 500 is gonna be good. All that locally, Knoxville, they're doing good by having a doubleheader. I like that. Fans want racing, so that's good. Get out and support that. They're kind of taking a gamble, I guess, on how many cars and fans will show up. But I think you get out and support it. Maybe they'll do it again a couple times or something. And
get out and fill those grandstands.
definitely, if you're within an hour or 2, maybe 3 of a racetrack, get out there and watch it.
Let's help our racetracks stay strong. Safe, what do you want to add to end the show?
So I just want to add this, like we've all been saying, get out and support your track. That's what keeps them going. Number 2 is thank you for watching as always. We really appreciate all of you that take the time to sit here and listen to us 3 talk about racing. I mean, I know we're something else.
Everybody to come and talk about racing and enjoy it.
It's fun. Just have a good time.
Good positive conversation.
Now John's wanting to know about the pond story.
We're not.
John, I know the story.
That's neither here nor there.
We're going to leave that on a cliffhanger. That's for next week's episode.
Oh, come on. I know.
No, yeah. So I just wanted to say thank you again, as always, guys. Again, Sunday nights at 7 o'clock. That's what is going to work best for everyone. We feel like that's just a good, solid time. We appreciate you all, as always.
Yeah.
And remember, get out there, support your tracks, support your local businesses, and God bless. Thank you, and have a wonderful
We'll keep you updated throughout the week on races that are going on across the country on our Facebook page.
Yep.
And if you haven't liked it already, go ahead and like it, share it with all your friends, tell everybody about it.
Tell the world.
Keep her clean and green.
Yeah, and we're going to try. I know that when I go to Knoxville, we might try to get a couple live videos
I'll be in
from
Knoxville
there.
too, so I'll post some stuff.
I'll go down and try to get some interviews with some drivers, maybe. Stay tuned for that. We'll see what we can do.
Thank you for tuning in, everybody.
Guest host Chaz, if you can make it happen, we'll have him on, Cole.
Yeah, we
will have him on.
Alrighty.
Thanks for tuning in. Hope everybody has a good work week. And
hey, short week. Well, some people maybe.
Get out to your local racetrack and have some fun.
Support. God bless, and thank you all again.
Later.
Good night, everybody.
Woo!
Deuce.